I was fascinated by Chelsea Piers.
Mm,
You are a kind, you're a kind human. There's a kindness in you, like a really strong
of
nucleus
course.
of kindness. And I saw that throughout the documentary with the gentleman that would park your car and you tip them
Oh,
generously.
that was unbelievable. Yeah, Jacques. His name is Jacques. I'll never forget that guy.
Yeah. And what is it
Yeah,
about him that made him so memorable to you?
just I respected how hard he worked
Right.
and how much pride he took in his job. You know, and I never saw him in a bad mood ever.
Right.
Never saw him in a bad mood. You know, he was happy to be alive. You know, and the amount of respect and the amount of kindness in which he provided me in the 3 years that I was a New York Ranger was, he was one of my favorite guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's
because
awesome.
when you're heading to the rink to play, right? Who's the first person you see
Right.
before you enter the building? It's Jacques, and he's
Right.
fucking pumped to be
Yeah.
alive,
Yeah.
right? You know, and he works in a parking garage. So what does that
Right.
tell you? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
what does that tell you? And the reaction was priceless. Like
Mhm.
that was an Academy Award moment in the
Yes.
documentary for sure.
Right. Now, we'll take it down a notch and talk about the peers. And you said you would always bring wine and you'd give them a couple of bucks, right? You're hanging out with obviously homeless people. Are these other people that also have addictions, or are you the worst one around that barrel of fire? Are you looking at all these other guys like they kind of have their shit together a little bit more than me, or?
Well, I don't think the real world at that time could relate to what had happened to me.
Right.
And the guys that I would sit, drink with around the burning barrel, they all had trauma,
Right.
right? They were abused, abandoned, neglected, fucking you name it, right? And so I could relate. I had trouble like when I was on the ice, I had no trouble relating, right? Because that was my space. I was, I knew everything. My brain was, fully there.
Mhm.
But when I left the rink, I didn't know who I was, right?
Right.
Because I had this secret, right, that I was carrying around. And when I went to talk to these guys around the burning barrel, there was no judgment ever. There was only understanding. There was a lot of caring. And, I enjoyed listening to their stories and their struggles. And, I would say that the majority of those guys were way happier than I was.
Right.
And I thought, how could this be? Right? I have everything. Fame, fortune, money, all that stuff. And really at the end of the day, that's not what it's about. To me, it's about relationship. Right.
Right.
And the one relationship that I'd neglected the most was the one that I had with myself. And it wasn't until I started having a relationship with myself that things started to get better. Because after my abuser left my life, I took over the abuse and I abused myself for many, many years.
Right.
And it wasn't until I stopped abusing myself that things started to get better, right? Because I had to find value in myself. Like I had to like myself, I had to take care of myself, those kind of things. And so, the process of healing is a 3-step process. It's emotional, physical, and spiritual healing. That's what has to happen.